YouTube, it's Breckie from Breckie Writes. This is Breckie Reads, and it's time for my July TBR. It's just about the end of June. It's time to start looking towards what I'm gonna read for July. June has been a weird reading month for me, so getting my act together for July is pretty important. But first we have to do the TBR jar challenge. My TBR jar challenge for this month is to read a sci-fi book from 1970 or before. There it is, proof in the pudding. Okay, so there are a whole bunch of sci-fi books that I could pick up. I was thinking maybe some Jules Verne or some pulp sci-fi from the 1950s. If you have a suggestion for a sci-fi novel from 1970 or before, please leave it in the comments, because sci-fi isn't a genre I read a lot of, and certainly older sci-fi is something that I've never even touched. In addition to my TBR jar challenge book, I have a couple of things I definitely want to get to. The first book that I definitely want to get to in the month of July is the last in the School for Good and Evil trilogy, The Last Ever After. This continues the story of Agatha and Sophie and their adventures in the world of the School for Good and Evil and the escalating conflicts that are happening. I am very close to finishing the second book, and I'm definitely not going to be able to finish the third book by the end of June, so this will be a top priority for July. The second book that I want to finish for July is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. Now, I have been trying to get through this book through all of June, and as you can see, I have not done a very good job. So my goal for July is just to sit down, curl up, and finish Gilead. Gilead is told in letters between a father and a son on the occasion that the father realizes he's dying. This takes place in the 1940s, so it is a historical fiction, and it has won the Pulitzer Prize. And the writing style is beautiful. Every sentence feels like it was an intentionally cultivated phrase, but it also is more of a character study, so it's very slow, and that's not really what I tend to enjoy, so it's making it a little bit difficult for me to make my way through, but I definitely want to try to finish this one in July. And then I want to read Arcadia. Arcadia is my most anticipated read for July. I want to read this one so badly, but I want to get through the School for Good and Evil trilogy first so that I'm not mixing or confusing anything. Arcadia is a story, I think, told with 3 different storylines that get interwoven. A guy who is an author writing a story, a little girl who winds up sneaking into the story he's writing, and then I think the story itself, from what I've heard. I don't know that much about it, and I kind of want to go in blind. This book has been making a lot of waves on BookTube, so I definitely want to get in before the hype gets too high. Jen Campbell recommended, and Jen Campbell is a goddess in my opinion, so I am here to check this one out soon. Now, I'm going to be flying to the East Coast on the 3rd. I will be there for about 2 weeks visiting family and friends, and so I'm not going to be doing a ton of reading while I'm there, or at least I don't think I am, and I'm going to read some ebooks. I am thinking of doing a read of the Percy Jackson series. I've never read any of the Percy Jackson books. I totally missed that train. They kind of came out when I was in late high school, so I wasn't exactly the target market, and inspired by the lovely Book Olive and her A Grown Woman Reads Harry Potter series, I'm thinking of maybe doing A Grown Woman Reads Percy Jackson, and maybe read the first 2 or 3 of those this month. I don't know if that would have any reception. If you would like me to see me do that, leave a comment down below so I know that you would be interested, but they seem like really fun books, and I know that they're really popular among sort of the generation younger than I am, so I don't know, I think I might pick those up. I also have a couple of ebooks hanging out on my Kindle. I have Eleanor and Park and The Serpent King, both of which I want to read, and this might be a great time while I'm on my flight or while I'm chilling out with my family. We'll see, but definitely some ebooks will be in my repertoire this month. And finally, I want to read at least one of my Book of the Month Club books. I have Eligible by Curtis Sittenfield and Modern Lovers by Emma Strub, and basically I have not started either of these. I wanted to read Eligible this month and it just didn't happen. So in the month of July, I'm either going to read Modern Lovers or Eligible, or the new one that hasn't arrived yet. I don't know what it's going to be, but I will read one of my Book of the Month Club books because they're fabulous and they're beautiful hardbacks and I need to read them. I need to read them. So that is the direction that I'm looking at. I have the TBR jar challenge of reading a science fiction novel published before 1970, of which I will need lots of recommendations. So if you are a sci-fi person and you have some ideas, please leave them down below. I also will be finishing the School for Good and Evil trilogy and hopefully getting to Arcadia and maybe even starting the Percy Jackson series. So some varied kinds of reads. I have a couple of nonfiction audiobooks that I am debating. I've started Origins by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and there is a memoir called Spinster that I might get to. I haven't decided, so we'll see. A varied, different, interesting reading month for me, I hope. What are you guys looking forward to reading in the month of July? Do you have a book that you're super psyched about? Because honestly, I cannot wait to start Arcadia, and if this thing wasn't such a beast, I'd be taking it back east with me. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will talk to you later. Bye!